Birdhouse Dynasty Show and a roster review. We've got a roster review of Jimbo's Birdhouse number 3 team. And this one started up last year. It's a 12x12 Bestball Superflex, 0.75 tight end premium. Jimbo, how we doing today?
Doing good. How are you doing today?
Oh, loving life. So, yes, Jimbo put in to have his roster reviewed. Again, this was a team that did the startup last season. Jimbo made the playoffs this last year and was quite competitive. And he's just looking to find a way to, get over the hump, see what we could do here in the Birdhouse to help him out. And we can do the same for you. Likewise, just check out the description below. And you can see there's a couple of ways to do that by joining the Patreon, patreon.com/birdhousedynastyshow, or buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/birdhousedynastyshow. And so, Jimbo, we are ready to, let's bring up your squad here. We do that through Dynasty Daddy. Dynasty Daddy, one of the great free assets for you in Dynasty to check out your rosters and see how they compare to some of the other teams in your league. You can see the power rankings here in this league, pretty even across the board. I mean, sure, there's a couple of teams that are lower in value, but as far as the difference between the high-end team down to the bottom-end team, it's not too drastic. Again, though, this is only the second year of this league, and so things start to differentiate as you get along in a dynasty league's years. So once you get to years 3, 4, 5, and 6, Jimbo, you'll see a lot of differentiation. So you don't want to let your team's value get too low. But again, the main goal is to win the league, not be the most valuable roster necessarily. So Jimbo, this is, as I mentioned before we jumped on here, this is a little unprecedented to actually bring the guy on that we're reviewing his roster for. And so I'm excited today. Let me just ask you, what were your expectations initially going into a dynasty league last year?
Well, yeah. First off, thanks for having me. And yeah, when I did the draft, I originally didn't know how in depth it was going to be. I wasn't expecting like the whole 30-team roster. I was still used to just playing, the regular kind of fantasy football where you do a redraft every year. But the more and more I got into it week by week, the more I started learning other people's strategies and how they went really young in the draft. I know when I drafted, I drafted kind of with older players like Henry. He did well for me, but I also had like Tyreek Hill, Cooper Kupp. I ended up picking up Darren Waller off the waivers. So it wasn't until maybe like week 2 or week 3, I was like, oh, okay, I'm starting to get this a little bit. So I kind of pivoted a little bit midway through the season, trade a lot of my older assets for younger assets. And I know also I had like a 2 or 3 game losing streak, and I just kind of thought, all right, push the reset button, rebuild. But then, yeah, all of a sudden my team had a push, a lot of players that, I tried to trade earlier in the season, like a Kenneth Gainwell. All of a sudden, started hitting for me, and then I got to trade him, sold him high for some assets. Same thing with Rico Dowdle. So yeah, overall it was fun. I enjoyed it. Still need to be doing some wheeling and dealing. I definitely try to push a lot of crazy trades, especially compared to the beginning of the year to the end of the year. Got more in depth with learning about trade analyzers and what is actually a decent trade. Because usually when I played fantasy football, I played with a lot of friends, and sometimes you get people that didn't really know what they were doing, so you could kind of throw, certain trades out there that kind of hit that probably shouldn't have. But overall, though, I'm liking my squad. I'm liking my young talents out there. There's some players I still plan on trading. There's some players I'm really looking at the draft coming up in April. But yeah.
All right. So let's get okay. I'm not trying to cut you off. We're just gonna flow back and forth here a little. And so, first of all, I've got it broken down into 5 sections here to help you out. And we're gonna start with the format of this league. So there's many different ways to do Dynasty. And for this league, which is one of the Birdhouse leagues, and we're gonna have the Birdhouse 5 coming up probably at the end of February, beginning of March. But this was the Birdhouse 3 League, which started last year, and it's a 12 by 12 best ball Superflex 0.75 tight end premium. So with that format, there's a 30-man roster. And we'll get into roster construction now, part 2, roster construction. So it's a 30-man roster, and ideally, the way I look at things is with 30 players, and in best ball, the beauty of best ball is that every single spot on your roster matters. In a lineup league, or what you are used to, Jim, like your regular redraft leagues, you know, you got 16 to 20 players, and usually the bottom 3, 4, 5 guys don't matter much, right? They never get into your lineup. They just kind of sit there. You might drop them, pick up somebody off of waivers, but none of them actually end up getting into your lineups. Now, the beauty of best ball is anybody, every single week, could get into your lineup. You could scoop up a Marcus Tipton, a MVS, and they get a touchdown, boom, into your lineup. And that's what I love about best ball is you're not kicking yourself because you didn't start this guy or that guy, even though they caught 2 passes for 75 yards and a touchdown. You pick them up. You deserve to have them in your lineup. You know what I'm saying? Like the Packers don't get screwed when Dontavian Wicks gets into the end zone, right? Or Bo Melton gets into the end zone. They get the points for it, don't they? They don't only get the points for the 3 guys that they decided to start one week. Everybody gets points. And if somebody like Tucker Kraft gets hurt, well, then Luke Musgrave's points count. They get into your lineup, right? So that's the beauty of best ball. What I love about best ball versus redraft or your regular dynasty formats. And so because of that, you have a 30-man roster. You want a roster constructed properly so that you can maximize your points each week. And so what I look at when I have a 30-man roster, I want to have 25 guys, at least 25 guys that are non-zeros every week. So beginning by week 1, you want to get all those 0 scoring quarterbacks off your roster. You want to minimize those running back 3s that don't get many touches. You want to get those guys off your roster. And I know it's funny because back in November or December, when you first asked for a roster review, we started discussing this. I mentioned, I think it was Rasheen Ali and one other guy to get off your roster, right? And then Ali, that was the week he got into the end zone, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was crossing my fingers on those, but I was feeling that with Ali and Malik Davis. That's actually why I picked up Mafa at the end of the season. Mafa and Ali are kind of like my 2, and Jacob Cohen, receiver from San Fran, who was injured all year. I see those guys as being like, I don't know, I'm like sleeping on them. Like, especially Mafa, if the Cowboys don't sign back Williams, and I know they have Jaden Blue, but he didn't really pan out this year. But if they don't pick up anybody from the draft, I could see Mafa
Mafa. I would say Mafa's okay to have on your roster right now because of the uncertainty with Javonte Williams. Because for sure, Jerry Jones likes to play it as cheap as possible at the running back position, and so. Yeah, between Mafa and I don't know who else they bring back this year, but there's a possibility that he might be a guy that gets plenty of touches for the Cowboys, him or Malik Davis. 2 years ago, Rico Dowdle had 1,000 yards for the Cowboys, and the Cowboys are looking at another year where they'll have an explosive offense, and that's good for us in fantasy, right? It might not be great for them in real life because their defense is still going to suck, but that's great for fantasy, And so, yeah, but looking at your roster, the guys that I'm looking that you would definitely probably be looking at getting rid of would be Jacob Cowing, Zonovan Knight, Rasheen Ali, and then you've got borderline guys like Jaleel McLaughlin, and then Jalen Milroe as well over at quarterback. Milroe has tons of talent, but come the first week in September, the hope would be here is that you get somebody within your league to buy into the Milroe talent, and whether that's the Sam Darnold owner, that you get to throw Milroe into a deal where it helps you gain a player that actually will score in multiple weeks this season, or you trade him straight up Milroe for maybe a wide receiver that can get you, gets into your lineup 2 or 3 times. That's going to be more times than Milroe gets into your lineup, right? Barring the Sam Darnold injury. Now, if Milroe happens to be one of your bottom 5 guys, that's fine. Like I said, you want to have 25 guys, though. Try to at least 25 guys that are non-zeros. And so when you're looking at your team, you've got 5 first and second round picks. Now, with those first and second round picks, you should be able to get 5 guys that should be non-zeros. So you don't really want to be drafting another backup quarterback, because then you'll be stuck with 2 backup quarterbacks that are likely zeros for you. But you want to be concentrating, I think, on the wide receiver position, because if you look at your rank across the league here, you're 3rd at quarterback, 2nd at running back, but 12th at wide receiver, 4th at tight end, and 5th in draft capital. So you've got a solid build here. You just need to sort of help out your wide receiver room that is led right now by Travis Hunter. You've got Jaden Reed, Jalen Coker, A.D. Mitchell, Ryan Flanoy, Devon Vele, and then Jacob Cowing, as we talked about, somebody you could cut. But the other 6 guys are fine as far as best ball goes. Devon Vele, he was coming on it late in the year. Same with Flanoy. He's in that high-powered Cowboys offense. A.D. Mitchell, a good, solid best ball wide receiver. I know you made a trade for him during the season. Jalen Coker coming on late in the year. Jaden Reed's always a wild card. And then Travis Hunter, probably the ultimate wild card in fantasy football right now. He's somebody that it's going to be tough to trade Hunter and get all that value for. So you probably just kind of stuck hanging on to Hunter right now. But you can definitely trade from some of your other positions or draft capital. Specifically draft capital right now I'd be looking at. And if we want to get into the 2026 draft now, the 105 could be a solid wide receiver for sure. There's a tier break probably right now in talent at the 105. You're looking at 3 good wide receivers, or Fernando Mendoza falling to the 105. But as you mentioned, you think there's a couple of guys ahead of you there that need a quarterback. So you think Mendoza might go ahead of him. That would leave you with one of the top 3 wide receivers there. And then with the 112, 204, 208, and 212, you could easily trade those picks for a point producing veteran wide receiver. And I listed off a bunch of wide receivers, but what are your thoughts there on trading your 2026 picks for points?
Well, surprisingly, I at one point had like 9 picks. Which now looking back, even with the, I know I traded Golden for Milroe at the end of the season. Looking back at it now, it's kind of like, I don't know, I guess I did buy in the Milroe hype, but still keeping my fingers crossed on him a little bit. You never know with quarterbacks. I know Jalen Hurts won the Super Bowl MVP last year, and then people at the end of the year this year were crawling out for Cameron McKee. So But yeah, I definitely the depth of receiver. I got some like wide receiver twos, but yeah, I just definitely need one of those wide receiver ones. Trade wise, I've already had some trades sent to me for the 12th. I almost bid on one. I probably maybe should have. I'm still kind of contemplating, and I guess I'm weighing out, seeing that those draft picks are going to probably go higher in value, getting closer to the draft. So I'm kind of just putting my brakes on a little bit before doing any trades. But yeah, I've been doing some packaging. I mean, I've even been looking at maybe getting dabbling in trading like maybe Bucky Irving or RJ Harvey for one of those mid round firsts. The only thing is with my running back depth, like I got depth, but I don't want to trade away too many of those um, running backs.
Well, let
Uh,
me stop you there with the running backs and wide receivers. So when we were talking roster construction, remember we want to get as many zeros off of your roster, right?
yeah,
So
and yeah, a lot of them are going to be the running backs that are
yeah,
coming off.
ideally you have about 4 to 5 quarterbacks on your team that are non-zeros, right? Then you have about only 5 to 7 running backs that are non-zeros. But then you have like 10 to 15 wide receivers. So that's the area right here where you want to sort of flip the number of guys that you've got right now. If you go from your top 5 running backs are okay, cutting off at
Yeah,
JCM, maybe
yeah,
even Braylon Allen you can count in there. So 6 running backs. If you kept those 6 running backs, I'd be totally fine rolling into the season with those 6 running backs. What you want to
I
do
got
is
you.
try at least first before you trade one of those guys, try and trade all of the guys below there. Sean Tucker,
Okay.
Chris Rodriguez, Jalil McLaughlin. I don't think you're getting anything for Ali, Mafa, or Knight. So,
Yeah.
but
Hey,
if you can get any future draft capital, like thirds, fourths, any of that is fine in the future. You don't have to get any more 26 picks because you don't need them. You got plenty of 26 picks. But
okay.
from Sean Tucker on down, you can try and flip them for future draft capital or super cheap. I'm talking dirt cheap wide receivers. Okay, because you want to fill out this wide receiver room now with the dirty guys. You go after like uh, ugh, McMillan from Tampa.
Ah,
You go
okay.
for Dontavian Wicks, those type of bottom end wide receivers. You know, Yoshivas from Cincinnati. Go for the 3rd and 4th wide receivers on good passing offenses. You want to go to the teams that have high volume, like Ryan Flanoy is great because he's on a
Mhm.
high volume pass attack. And if Pickens or CeeDee Lamb is out, Flanoy could have
Oh
a big game like he did this last
yeah.
season.
Mm-hmm.
Same
They had
with,
a
I
couple.
mean, same thing happens in the Packers offense. I know they don't pass quite at the volume that you'd like to see, but Dontavian Wicks has a couple of games every year where he gets a decent amount of targets. But same with like Seattle, they're a low pass attack, but you could get like Torrey Horton. He could have a couple of weeks where he gets high volume. Even San
Okay.
Francisco, they're another team that doesn't pass a lot, but their 3rd and 4th wide receivers, like Kendrick Bourne, had a couple of weeks last season where he was getting high volume. So you want to flip those running backs into wide receivers in similar value ranges. Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Hey, what's your take on handcuffs with running backs? I mean, it kind of worked for me with Sean Tucker with a couple games, especially when Tampa played Buffalo.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you have an RB1 and also the RB2 on that team, is that what's your take on that? Is that like a good strategy, or is that something I should move away from moving
I
forward?
I don't mind it either way because like if Bucky gets hurt in a game, right? then Sean Tucker's going to take over for him during that game and get you double-digit points. And with Rachaad White leaving, I don't hate having Sean Tucker if he's your, 7th running back. Like I said, ideally, roster construction-wise, you have 5 to 7 running backs. I would like to eventually possibly upgrade from Corum or Hubbard, but you've got situations there where Corum is, there's certain games this year. I'm sure you've got Corum on your roster, so Corum's looked better than Kyron Williams certain weeks. And Chuba Hubbard, with Rico Dowdle leaving town as a free agent likely this year, who knows what they do in the backfield there in Carolina. That's a situation where Chuba, he's got a big contract. He could be the number 1 going into next year. Now he didn't look great this year. So maybe you're able to move him into getting a different running back that actually looks better, but who knows? Hubbard's one of those guys that's on the fringe, just like JCM is in Washington. Washington's a spot where it's been heavily rumored for Breece Hall to go, and that would probably, kind of crush JCM's value. But at the same time with you, it would certainly help Braylon Allen's value on the backside, right? So, yeah, I could see keeping Sean Tucker for sure, but Chris Rodriguez, I see you've got JCM and Rodriguez. Rodriguez had a couple of decent games late in the year there as well, but he's probably kind of done for the time being right now. So we'll see. But McLaughlin, I mean, it makes sense how you have it constructed. You have McLaughlin, who was RJ Harvey's sort of backup, McLaughlin just kind of took over drives for Denver. It seems how Sean Payton likes to run things. He'd have Harvey run 2 drives, and then McLaughlin gets the next drive, right? He doesn't necessarily pigeonhole his guys into one guy's a first and second down grinder, and then he has a third down back. He likes to keep it fluid in his running back room. He definitely doesn't like to have just one bell cow guy. He didn't even do that when he had Alvin Kamara. Kamara pretty much topped out at 15 rush attempts a game. He just got heavily targeted in the pass game. And that's the hope, at least for all RJ Harvey owners right now. So main thing is don't keep, even with Bucky Irving and RJ Harvey, you want to stay fluid with your guys. You don't want to just say, no, I won't trade them at all. But what I am saying is you're totally fine if you run into the season with these 5 guys at quarterback, with these top 7 guys at running back, and with probably the top 5 guys at tight end. You can probably use one of these tight ends in a trade, any of which. I would probably try and keep Pitts, but honestly, in best ball, if you were to trade Pitts and just run into the season with the next 5 guys, you're going to score points because of the way best ball works. All you need is one of those guys to get into the end zone, and they're going to get into double-digit points, and you're going to be fine at the tight end position. So I know it's super ugly, but it works. Trust me. I made it work with Hunter Henry and Dallas Goedert and Dalton Schultz in a number of leagues this last season. So the ugly uglies are your friends at tight end in best ball. I'm telling you. And Pitts is kind of hot, but I would wait until he signs with somebody in free agency. Definitely. Then he's going to get a little bit of a boom, whether it's back in Atlanta in a new offense with Stefanski there, who loves the tight end position. That's going to give Pitts a boom, or he goes to Washington or any other place. He's going to get a boom for being in the news, and the hype will build for Pitts. So I would a solid hold for Pitts right now, but then you can see come March what his value is at.
That
So
50-point game definitely gave me a boost that one game during the playoffs. That helped out a lot.
oh yeah, for sure. So now, what are your thoughts on, like I said, try and trim your roster down before the draft. If you're going to keep, let's say you keep these 5 picks that you can draft all wide receivers at, if you were able to trim this roster down to 20, okay? So you had, let's say you get rid of Milrow, you get rid of one of these tight ends. So you got 4 quarterbacks, 5 tight ends. That's 9. And then you got 4 running backs. Let's say you cut everything down below Hubbard. And then you had 8, 5, that's 13. Then you had 7 wide receivers. Do you think you'd be able to trim the fat? I'm talking trim the fat heavily. Like you're piling up 2nd and 3rd round picks. You think you've got enough to do that in you? Like you've been pretty active in this league. I've seen it. I'm in this league only as a proxy. I'm a co-owner on one team, but I don't do anything with Mojo's team. Mojo runs the whole team. I'm just in this league so that I can use this on the show from here and there. Do you think you're active enough that you could trim the fat, get as many 2nds and 3rds and 4ths as possible?
Yeah, I'm already looking at my roster. I already did all the crossing of the players and stuff. So mainly, it's a lot of it. Basically, just getting that running back room kind of slimmed down, and then like I guess my idea that's going through my head is just like through the draft with the receivers. That's where I was going to really build my depth, and then I see Darren Waller. I don't see him coming back next year. I'm feeling he might retire. I did question Cole Kmet, but I'm hearing rumors he might go to Carolina in free agency. I have been trying to shop with Chuba Hubbard, especially since I have a feeling Jonathan Brooks will probably take his job next year. I don't know. I like Sean Tucker, and if I keep Bucky, I'll probably keep Sean just in case. But yeah, like you were saying, Knight, Ali, McLaughlin, like those I all had crossed out. Jacob Cohen might be the one guy that might take off my receiver position, just because he's kind of like a wild card. He's just kind of like a throw in the dart, but I do know who I've been eyeing on the draft. I don't know if I should go into who I'm all eyeing. I could, I have a lot of high hopes on some of those receivers than most people do, especially going into the second round. I kind of had the idea that some of these receivers would probably like slip down to the 4th round for me, but it seems like each week I'm hearing more and more about them, and they're like rising more and more. Especially 2 of them that I've been really eyeing on since January. So I'm kind of gambling with it a little bit, but I don't know. There's definitely at least a good 4 to 5 receivers that I want to pick up in the draft. Maybe get a tight end if I get lucky. I mean, we probably know which tight end I'm talking about, although there are two others that I've been eyeing on as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, when it comes to in the draft, it's okay to draft a different position. If you feel the value is there at running back or tight end, that's totally fine, because after the draft is in May when this rookie draft is going to happen. You're going to have 2 months after the draft to get your roster construction proper and ready for the first week of September. So yeah, definitely draft BPA, best player available. Draft your best value. Now, when you get into the second round of a rookie draft, a lot of times, and especially this season, it's going to be wide receiver. The running backs after Jeremiah Love aren't exactly the greatest. Now, there's still going to be some guys who fall into good landing spots, and so they might be the best value. And then, yeah, you just take them, because who knows, by taking them, that might make RJ Harvey or Blake Corum or Chuba Hubbard more available from your roster. So, yeah, you don't want to pigeon yourself into, oh, I'm only drafting wide receivers. So just keep that in mind.
Oh.
Yeah. It's good that you're focused on wide receiver, though, for sure, because this is a wide receiver heavy draft. I like the wide receivers in this draft. And again, that's where, you know, if you listen to a lot of other podcasts, they're really poo-pooing down on the 26 class. Oh, trade all your 26 picks. Well, you know, while yes, this class might not be as good as the 25 class and may not project out as well as the 27 class, that's really mainly because of the quarterback position. We just have Francisco Mendoza, and then we've got a cluster of about 4 or 5 quarterbacks who are really just going to start the season as backups. But Ty Simpson from Alabama, he'll probably get his shot at some point this year, like Tyler Shook did last year. And I could see Garrett Nussmeier getting his shot. I could see Carson Beck getting a shot. So there's decent talent here. So don't just throw away everything. Definitely get your value for these picks, especially if you're trading them now as opposed to waiting until draft day. Because draft day, you'll see, and you probably saw it last year. I mean, we did the startup first.
Yeah,
we did the rookie draft, and the rookie picks gained value, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I wasn't very strategic with that draft.
That's okay. You live and learn. You live and learn.
Sure did.
Yeah. So I've got a list for you, and I'll shoot you over a text with I've got anywhere from 4 to 10 guys at wide receiver, veterans, that you can target with each of your 5 main draft picks that you've got, anywhere from, you know, for the 105, for instance, I've got BTJ, Roma Dunze, Lad McConkey, or Marv that you could try and go after. And, you know, for somebody like Lad, there might be excitement now that McDaniel went there as the offensive coordinator. So you might have to pay a little more than the 105, right? But that's okay if you're throwing in the 406, or you're throwing in one of those running backs that you're not even planning on really rostering. You know, if you throw in Chris Rodriguez or Jaleel McLaughlin, well, that's just helping you trim the fat down. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, they have a point value here, but they're really zeros on your roster, because they're guys that you want to get off of so that you can get down to 25 guys by first week in September. And then you've got the cushion of the last 5 roster spots to use for IR guys and to use for the waiver wire, because we know that the waiver wire week to week, especially in best ball, you want to have open spots, not necessarily open spots, but guys on the bottom of your roster that you're easily willing to drop, right? Like right now, somebody like Zonovan Knight, you're easily willing to drop him to go after a waiver wire, a hot waiver wire guy. You don't want to feel like, oh man, I want to pick this guy up, but I don't have any room.
Yeah, waiver wire helps me and kill me at the same time. Like, I'm still hitting myself over the head for getting rid of Vidal early in the season, like before week 1 or something. And then and I picked up what was it, Haskins, thinking he was going to be the guy after Hampton got hurt. And nope, but yeah, I mean,
that'll happen. I mean, losing Kamani Vidal, it is what it is. Kamani Vidal is no different than Sean Tucker, really, right? I mean, Omarion Hampton's going to be the guy there. He's going to get the bulk of the work, and he definitely got a bump by Mike McDaniel going there. That Chargers offense, fully healthy at offensive line, is going to be a juggernaut offense there as far as the run game goes. So Hampton would definitely be somebody that would be awesome to add. But what I wanted to get into now for you quickly before we head out is the wide receiver ranks. So you like we showed, you're on the bottom, ranked 12th at wide receiver. So teams that you could easily target, and this is the beauty of Dynasty Daddy that you don't get when you're looking at Keep Trade Cut or wherever. You see Havdi here. He's number one at wide receiver, and part of it is because of all the guys he's got at wide receiver. But that's what you want to look like. You want to go after. You don't have to go after Puka or Jefferson, any of that. You just want to go after some of these bottom guys, starting with BTJ or Michael Wilson on down. Any of these guys, I would say from BTJ down through Cedric Tillman could help your roster construction out right now. So if you traded like Jaleel McLaughlin straight up for Wicks or Tillman, that would help your roster construction. Keon Coleman, somebody who's down right now because of the media in Buffalo getting on Keon Coleman. Well, we know Keon Coleman's got some talent, and Buffalo doesn't bring anybody in to supplant him. Well, Keon Coleman's going to have a shot there, and even so, like, he can score a touchdown any week, and then he's going to get in your lineup. The guys above Keon Coleman, though, are definitely more likely to give you consistent points other than Quentin Johnson. Like, Quentin Johnson's another
I had him earlier in the year. I traded him and Dowdle and Gainwell.
Yeah,
got a pick out of it, and Jaden Reed. I don't know. There's some trades I'm just looking back at, like, damn, I don't know. Like, and the other ones that were like sent to me early in the year, that I wish I would have bid on before I kind of knew anything else. Because there were some good trades that were offered, and some trades I did that I probably look back at and just like, man. But that's part of the game. That's
here's another roster you could go try to attack, and that's Steve. And I know Steve's pretty active. Steve S. Anywhere from Christian Watson on down here, even to the bottom, like Kendrick Bourne. So you got Christian Watson, Alec Pierce, Wan'Dale Robinson, Khalil Shakir, Kayshon Boutte, Jerry Jeudy. I don't like Besh or Thornton too much, but Thornton's not bad even. Bateman, Mechie, Ridley, and Bourne. Any of those guys would help your roster construction right now. And so Steve is always willing to entertain offers. So he'd be somebody that you could target up. He's pretty light at running back. If you see here, after Achane and Jacobs, he doesn't have much at all. So that's one guy you could target as well. He's the second most valuable wide receiver room. And then you've got Matt English here, who I know is always willing and active. You could toss him a tight end, seeing as he just has Tyler Warren and Ferguson, basically. You could throw him one of your bottom end tight ends and maybe a running back. And then you could dive into any of his guys from, say, I don't know that I'd buy into Higgins would be fine. Pearsall I'm not so high on, but I know he's been trying to deal him. But from Pittman on down here, any of those guys are worthwhile to roster on your Dynasty Bestball rosters here. So I would look at Pittman, DJ Moore, DK, Shaheed, Godwin, Pop Douglas. Yeah, any of those guys, Kevontae Turpin. Yeah, any of those guys from Matt, you could do 1-for-1 or 2-for-1. Try and package your guys up to trim the fat as much as possible on your rosters. Any other questions, Jimbo? Because I'm gonna shoot over those lists of guys that I've got for you, for each of your draft picks that you could go after veteran wise, but otherwise with roster construction, you got any other questions?
You still ever down to do like a mock draft for 26 with the rookies?
What's that?
Would you still ever be down to do like a mock draft on the 26 rookie class.
A rookie mock draft? Well, let's see what I got here. So, I've got this here. And if I shoot the link here over to the chat room, see if you can.
I got it.
Can you see the chat room?
One sec.
Do you bring up Sleeper? Have you brought Sleeper up on your laptop?
Oh no, I'm using my phone right now. For some reason, my laptop didn't work right now. So
okay, that's all good. Well, it'd be pretty tough for you then, but you could just tell me who you want to pick, and I'll pick them. Okay. So here is the. I'm gonna bring that draft board up. I'm gonna bring the Sleeper draft board up here.
Okay.
And then you can just tell me who you want to pick.
I mean, you want me to name some of the names right now, or?
Well, no. You see the draft board here?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So we'll just fire this up. All right. So I'm not going to hit start. I'm just going to mute this, and I'm going to we'll just go back and forth. All right. So I'll make the pick here. I'm going to take Love, number 1. He's the consensus 101. We don't need to get into who and why, but who would you take at the 102 right now?
It's got to be either of those one of the receivers, or Mendoza. I'll just go with Mendoza just to.
All right, that sounds fair. I mean, I've even seen some leagues where Mendoza went 101. So mock drafts where Mendoza went 101. Now, I don't really advise that, but some leagues are super quarterback hungry, so I can understand that. So at 103, I'm going to go with my top wide receiver right now, and that's Mekhi Lemon.
That's my guy too.
I like his profile so far. I think it's the closest to JSN to where he could be a real target hog. But yeah, we're splitting hairs right now with the 3 top wide receivers. It's really going to fall on draft capital and landing spot. Whoever gets the best quarterback, I think, is going to be the guy who gets moved up to the 103. But who would you take as your second wide receiver right now?
I'm going to probably go with Jordan Tyson just on the projections of which team he might be falling to. I know there's a lot of people saying Cardinal Tate might go to the Browns.
Yeah.
That might throw him off a little.
I'm going to take then at 105. So we got the 3 wide receivers. So that's pretty much how we're looking at most drafts. Drafts are really going to start at the 106. So who would you take? Yeah. That would be on you. Who would you take at the 106, Jimbo?
Man, I just like this guy, but he's probably not going to go at number 6 for most drafts, but I still really like him regardless, and that's Kenyon Shadiq.
Tight end? Yeah.
Yeah, right. It's just, I feel like his landing spot where he's going to go to, whether it be, I've been hearing, from Miami to Carolina to even San Francisco, I heard a little bit today just because of, the uncertainty with George Kittle. But Shadiq is a weapon for sure, and I have a lot of promise for him.
That's all good. You're leaning into the format. It's a 0.75 tight end premium. I don't hate it. If that's who you end up taking, if you, for some reason, end up with the 106 pick, which could happen, there's a lot of fluidity on draft day. Who knows what pick you end up with? If you take Sadiq at 106 and he's a first-round talent, he gets drafted in the first round, that's definitely viable. I'm taking Denzel Boston next, and because I like his odds on being a first-round wide receiver. Typically, late first-round wide receivers get onto good teams. So he's very likely to get onto a roster such as Buffalo or Kansas City or somewhere where it's exciting, where he's going to get a good quarterback to him, and that'll help his
I
can
see the Steelers being a good place for him, too. And his dad being David Boston, I can't beat that.
His dad was David Boston. I remember him well. I've been playing since 1987, so I remember David Boston very well. That guy was a beast.
Yeah, sure was.
Till he took too many steroids. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Who's your next guy on the board right now?
This guy is a Swiss Army knife for the draft, and I'm going Casey Concepcion.
Concepcion. Nice. I like it. Yeah.
I've been digging what he was doing all season in college with A&M, and I see him being utilized very well in the NFL. He's got a lot of upside.
All right, I like it. Next up for me, I am going to. I'm going to lean towards it being a Superflex league. I'm going to lean towards the QB position, and hopefully he's on here somewhere. There he is. I'm going to go with Ty Simpson. I think he's going to be a first-round pick, and being a quarterback in a Superflex league, that is all you need to get some draft capital. So yes, he had an up and down season for Bama, but he definitely showed flashes. I could see somebody like the Jets, grabbing him, moving up into the first round to grab him late. Pittsburgh is another spot that I've seen him mock to. So yeah, I'll go with Ty Simpson there. Who do you like next there?
Well, I was going to say before this, you think Trinidad's going to come out this year, or you think he's going to get another year of eligibility?
I think he'll be in the draft.
Okay. I'll go with running back just for now, because I might need to hear a little more coming up to the draft about Chambliss. But I'll probably just go with Jonah Coleman.
All right. I like it.
I know people kind of think Jadario might be the second running back, and I've heard a lot of good things with Emmett Johnson and just what he did with Nebraska. But I don't know. I'm liking Jonah Coleman. I think he's got a lot of upside as well. Can do both the rushing and passing game. He's a good blocker, and he's got the experience to develop more into his craft when he goes into the pros.
All right, I like it. I'm going to lean back into the quarterback position. I'm going to take, you just mentioned him, Trinidad Chambliss. Just love that rushing ability. Basically, with Trinidad Chambliss, as with you when you got Jalen Milroe, we're just looking for the next Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts was taken in the second round of the NFL draft by the Eagles. He got his opportunity late rookie season and just took off. He was a fantasy darling that last month of his rookie season, and we know the rest of the story with Jalen Hurts, and that's the hope when you draft somebody like Trinidad Chambliss at the end of the first, early second. That's probably where he's penciled in right about now. So who do you like next?
I'm going to throw a curveball here, go with another tight end. I liked him a lot at Vanderbilt. That's Eli Stores.
Yeah, I like it. I like Stores too. Yeah. Nice.
He might not produce very much with like the blocking, but his passing, like being in the passing game, that's where I think he's going to really, turn some heads. Because especially if he lands at with a nice team, Eli Stores might be a steal of the draft this year.
Sure. Yeah, I could definitely see him end up being the top tight end of this class for sure. No doubt about it. Next, I am going to jump on Omar Cooper. I like him of the next tier of wide receivers. I watched a few of Indiana's games, and between him and Surratt, I slightly like Cooper. He's got a little of Deebo Samuel in his game, plus he's got a big body. I just like his game. I think he could be a solid NFL wide receiver from the get-go, I think. So, all right, who do you like? Who do you like next there, Jimbo?
Yeah, give me Emmett Johnson. I know a lot of people are sleeping on him. I know he's rising as of late. Oh, he's been rising maybe since December, but I don't know. If you look at his stat line, it's not too far off. Why am I blanking on his name? Oh, Jeremiah Love. Sorry about that. Yeah. Had a
Yeah.
brain fart there. But yeah, it's not that far from Jeremiah Love. Looking at, if you like, put the stats right next to each other and put a question mark, yeah, they're not too far off. The only concern with Emmett Johnson is maybe what Caleb Johnson did last year. Because I know Caleb, he basically was the Iowa Hawkeyes offense, and he really didn't produce with Pittsburgh. Granted, there's a lot of variables to that could play into that. But Emmett Johnson, even looking at his tape, he looks like he can excel in the next level for sure.
All right, nice. Next up, I'm going Zachariah Branch. He's a wide receiver from Georgia who's got the skill set to be able to possibly be taken in the first round. And so a lot of people have him mocked right now near the end of the first. And this is the time where I'm willing to bet on the talent level, and anybody who gets first round draft capital, they're going to get more opportunity than anybody taken, in the third round, fourth round. So I'm still willing at this point, rather than trying to take home run swings. If I've got an early to mid second round pick, I still want to bet on that talent level that's there. So I'm going Zachariah Branch. All right. Who do you like? Who do you like next, Jimbo?
I'm going with the receiver for Tennessee, Chris Brazzell.
Brazzell, all right.
Yeah. He's kind of like a boomer buff guy, but he's got the accolades. He's 6'5". I think he's like 210 or something.
Yeah,
but,
he definitely ceiling. I would say he looks just like Plaxico Burress. I don't know if Tennessee wide receivers scare me a little, but I see where you're going.
I'm hoping he lands in Buffalo. I think that'd be a perfect spot for him. Like, just him and Josh Allen would be like, go hand in hand. Would be a great relationship going forward.
Yeah, that would be a nice landing spot for sure for him. All right, I'm gonna go Jadarian Price with the next pick. He's the teammate of Jeremiah Love. So he, sort of like Roschon Johnson, was limited in his touches. Roschon was stuck behind Bijan, and same here for Jadarian Price. But he looks to me like he's a little better than Roschon Johnson was. And so I'm willing to, throw a dart. At this point, to me, this is kind of where you get a tier break, and it's pretty much pick your guy. But I do want to lean into roster construction and format here. So it kind of depends on the team, whether I'd be going running back or wide receiver or another position. But all right, who do you got next, Jimbo?
I forget. Did you already take Omar Cooper?
I did. Yes.
Oh, okay. Then I'll do Surratt. Yeah.
All right.
I like Surratt at first. I kind of go back and forth with two. I think both of them are gonna, definitely be some heavy hitters going forward into the NFL. Maybe not number one, but at least somebody that can fill out the wide receiver room, put some upside on the talent for just the whole roster and overall. And I don't know, you saw how he did with Fernando in Indiana, and I've seen certain mock drafts that have Surratt going in the first round. So I guess I kind of have that back in my mind. It was just kind of
Yeah, no, I like the pick. I think Surratt can be a solid wide receiver. And again, that's the position you want to lean into in this draft. As Surratt in a different draft, he might go higher than he would in this year's draft, being that there's so many good wide receivers. I'm going to go Garrett Nussmeier with the next pick. Nussmeier had a great Senior Bowl. He was banged up this year at LSU, which led to him not performing as well as he definitely would have liked. And Nussmeier was a projected first rounder prior to the college season. And so I think somebody's going to get a little gem here in Nussmeier who could outperform his draft capital, as he probably will go somewhere, at least now he's projected somewhere in like the second or third round. I think he could get a shot depending on where he ends up going in the NFL. All right. Next up, who do you like, Jimbo? We got 5 more picks here for the second round. We'll finish up there.
Okay. I'll go with somebody that I like also at the wide receiver position, a former University of Wisconsin receiver who went to Connecticut, or transferred to Connecticut, and that's Skyler Bell. I don't know. I really like this guy. Watching his tape, both at UConn and Wisconsin, and also just how he developed with his transition to UConn. I understand a lot of people kind of dog him a little bit because he went to UConn and he didn't play as great of, as great of a conference. But when you look at the teams that he did play, like Boston College, Duke, Pitt, I think there's another ACC team that he just balled out. It was like every game he had double-digit receptions, over 100 yards, at least a touchdown or 2 each game. And I don't know, I really like how much this guy worked from when he went to Wisconsin to become the number 1 receiver at UConn. And his big downfall at Wisconsin was his catching ability. And I don't know exactly what the percentage was as far as his catching is concerned. But I know when he went to UConn, I think he only had like I don't know, he didn't have a lot of drop balls. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I know his height's a little iffy, but if he can be like a slot guy for a certain team, especially say if he lands with the Rams or something, or
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Plenty of places that
good, good solid pick there. I like it. I went Malachi Fields then. He also had a good Senior Bowl, much like Neusmeyer. Showed that he can step it up with not just the deep ball and tracking the ball down, but with his blocking. Obviously, he had to block a lot for Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price. But I think Malachi Fields is a dude who could step it right onto the NFL field right away and get you some production. So, yeah, that's where I'm leaning with Malachi Fields. I think he can slide into the back end of the second round here in rookie drafts. Next up there, Jimbo, who are you looking at?
Did Jeremy Bernard already go off the board from Bama?
No, he's still hanging out there. Out there.
I'll take him. Yeah. Right. He's let's go. He's decent. It's not like
he was stuck in a crowded room. Definitely.
Yeah, but he's somebody that's going to produce on the field, whether it be special teams, anywhere. I mean, he can play. I don't know, what can you say? He played for Bama.
Right.
He's a dog. He can't really go wrong with those Bama receivers. I mean, they're not as great as Julio Jones ever was, but they'll still put up average numbers and at least help out a team wherever they can.
Yeah, the talent level is definitely there, no doubt.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna jump on. It's between the 2 Penn State running backs for me now. Nick Singleton got banged up. He hurt his foot, broke his foot at the Senior Bowl, unfortunately. So that's going to hurt him because he could have done really well at the Combine. So I think his draft stock might fall a little. So I'm going to go with his teammate, Katron Allen, who definitely stepped it up the last couple of seasons with Nick Singleton not playing as well. Singleton, man, that's a guy who, had he come out last year, would have definitely been a higher pick, oddly, in a better running back class. But, Singleton didn't look as good, both in the running game and receiving game, while Katron Allen stepped things up. And I think Katron's a guy who, depending on where he lands, he could be a first and second down grinder on a particular team. So, all right, we'll finish it off here, Jimbo, with your last pick and get out of here. Who would you like to jump on here in the last pick?
All right, I'm going with Ted Hurst. This one's a long shot, which I doubt he's going to go this time. Yeah, Ted Hurst from Georgia State.
There he is. Tell us about the unknown here. This is a dude out of a small school.
So it's kind of like another gadget type player. He's got the speed, he's got the size. I really got to look more into the stats again, but he's somebody who I think is gonna his draft is gonna rise.
Yeah.
Or after
for Jalen Coker.
Yeah, he's gonna be like somebody that like is gonna wow some people with what he does at the combine, whether it's the 40 or other parts of the combine. But yeah, I've been watching some of this film, and yeah, I just think he's gonna be one of those sneaky guys that could land somewhere, and I don't know. I'm not gonna say he's gonna turn out like certain receivers, but he's got a shot. I'll say that.
He's got a shot to get on the field his rookie season for sure.
Yes. He's one of those, if I want to put all in, I might just do that. So,
yeah.
Just watch out for his name. I think he's going to be talked about quite a lot coming into the next couple months.
All right. So if you take a step back here, Jimbo, quickly, take a look at this. We drafted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 wide receivers out of 24 picks. And this is in a Superflex 0.75 tight end premium. So unless we get some high risers at tight end, you're looking at a wide receiver heavy class. And so just because people are saying that this class sucks and get rid of all your picks, that does not mean that you need to get rid of them. Their value is still going to rise. There's going to be guys that show out at the combine. There's going to be, free agent wide receivers that go to the wrong teams and create openings, right? And so that's going to create those openings for these rookies to land and have opportunity right away. So there's tons of reasons to still be excited about the 2026 class. All right. So, Jimbo, any final thoughts quick on the roster review or whatever else before we get out of here?
No, I think I'm good. Yeah, this is awesome, man. I really enjoyed it a lot. Yeah, we got to do this again sometime soon. Appreciate it, man.
So if you'd like a roster review, just check out the patreon.com/birdhousedynastyshow or the buymeacoffee.com, which is Birdhouse Dynasty Show /buymeacoffee.com. So check those out, and I'll be more than willing to help you out. Love doing this. Love helping Jimbo out here, especially because it's a league that I'm not personally in. That really makes it all the more special. And when Jimbo wins the Birdhouse #3 this year in 2026, all of you are going to be coming for roster reviews in the Birdhouse. All right. So thanks again, Jimbo. I appreciate it. And we'll get some more roster reviews on here ASAP. All right.
Can't wait.
Remember, though, at the end, you never